Hey, this is Jamal Hartwell with Gospel Musicians coming at you, and I'm very excited about our new MKSensation. A lot of you guys knew that I came out with the MKSensation before, and it had the EXS version, it had the Reason version, and it had the full contact version, but I realized that a lot of people don't have those versions, so you want to use a free player. So I wanted to offer it for the contact free player. And there's nothing like a good old beautiful interface. So we have the full-blown interface, we got the beauty going, so we're all set for this MKSensation. Now a little bit of history. MKSensation is a sample library based on the Roland MKS-20 Digital Piano analog digital piano module. A lot of people don't realize this, but the MKS-20 is actually an analog synthesizer. It is not a sample-based synthesizer. It is based off a technology Roland invented called structured adaptive synthesis. And what this technology was designed to do was to answer the challenges of having a piano that's very, very expressive, okay? And let me pull this up right quick. And so what Roland did, they said, we're going to develop a analog way to mimic the CP80 at the time was very big, that 80s piano, the CP80 and other EPs and the DX7. It was his answer to it. And what happens is every time you hit, actually, let me go to the real expressive one, the EP2. Every time you hit the thing, it opened up and it just had a real crazy. Just has a real crazy expression on it. So that was the answer to that expression that Roland actually was looking for, okay? And so gospel cats love this thing because even though the piano doesn't sound real, because of the expressiveness, it just creates an awesome atmosphere. Sometimes expressiveness is better than tone. And what I mean is, maybe you're trying to really mimic an awesome tone, but if you have expressiveness, even though this doesn't sound like a real piano, it plays crazy. And to this, even now, if you look on eBay, MKS-20 piano modules are selling for a good $200 to $400. Like, they're very, very rare, and they're very, very sought after because of that sound. For you guys who like to play pop stuff and go back in the day, this is the quintessential 80s pop piano. This is it. That's how they played in the 80s. Especially when you're playing at these low velocities. So it's just like, now I'm gonna share when I first heard about the MKS-20. All right, I just moved to Florida, and when you first move to Florida, you want to visit all the big churches. So I drove down to Tampa to visit Without Walls, and I visited Without Walls, and it was they had a guest keyboard player. It was a keyboard and organ player, and this keyboard player was just killing it with the chords. I was like, man, what is this dude doing? Now, me being a synthesizer junkie, I pretty much can sit out in the audience and tell you exactly which patch, what layers you're using. I can tell I know every tone. I know every what some synthesizers. I know their warmth. I know what they're doing. So when it comes to that, I knew exactly. I was listening to this dude and I said, dude, you're not playing a normal electric piano. So after service was over, I went up to him, and the guy's name was Justin Savage. I think he's out of Baltimore, and I never forgot his name, and a really cold keyboard player. So I went up to him, I said, hey man, I said, I said, what's that sound you're layering? And he was like, oh, I just got a motif. I was like, you just got a motif, huh? He's like, yeah, I'm just layering a motif with some stuff. I looked at him, I said, nah, bruh. I said, I know every single keyboard sound there is, and you are not layering it. So he looked over and he gave me this grin like, okay, I'm gonna share my trade secret. And he had his MKS covered in this black sheet. It was covered so nobody could see it, and he lifted it up. He said, shoo. And sure enough, it was an MKS-20. And they actually flew him in to do that gig, and he flew in with his MKS. It was funny. It was hilarious. I was like, man, you got it hidden? And he just gave me this grin. It's a secret weapon, so I'm exposing it right now. What everybody know about now, but I'm just saying this was just pretty awesome. So as you can see from here, I got everything. I got piano 1, piano 2, clavier. I got everything going that is quintessential to the MKS experience. Just for you tech heads, piano 1, the most important pianos in this whole thing is piano 1, piano 2, EP1, EP2, and the vibraphone. Piano 1, piano 2 were both sampled using 12 velocity layers. EP1 and EP2 were both sampled using 16 velocity layers. That's right, 16 velocity layers. Vibraphone was 12 velocity layers, and with the vibraphone EP1, EP2, I sampled using the actual course of the MKS, because the MKS module actually has some awesome analog components. The chorus on this joker was ridiculous. So we go to EP1. Now my awesome programmer, he was able to morph between regular chorus and the actual chorus. So when we morph and use this chorus on the EP1, EP2 vibraphone, you are actually getting the actual chorus on the MKS. Woo! That's crazy. Now what I did, I added a tremolo too. It just, look at that. It just, and then that EP2 chorus is just ridiculous. This is how it works pretty much. The red light turns it on, and the green light says run the effects through there. So if we turn the green light on and we turn the effects on, it's basically going to run these two effects through there. Turn this off, takes the, so that way, check this out. Unlike a regular MKS, you're able to play more than one sound. I know some cats that actually buy 2 MKSs just so they can layer piano 1 and EP2. So piano 1, EP2, baby. Woo! So they buy that actually just to layer those two. All right, so that's what you got with this. All right. Now I added something different. That's why it took me so long to bring this out. Y'all got to be patient with me. I added something new. I added this velocity tracking. Now what it does, let's go. We turn piano 1 on. No, let's go to EP2 since that's our expressiveness. We'll go to EP2. Number 8, we go right here, number 8. Now when I turn this up, this is for you guys that got heavy hands. And then you can take the tracking down. It's like a velocity, a sensitivity. Along with the velocity curve, because we know when you're playing live that is very, very important to have the right velocity. So we added that, Now remember, I'm coming from a gospel background. I'm a live gospel musician. Like, this is what I do. So when I make these sample libraries, I make them for the people that actually do live work, live giving, they're gigging. You know, even if you're not a gospel cat and you play live, you like to play the piano, you like to play strings, you like to play horns. Pretty much, let me pull up the Players EP, and we call this. Let me pull up the first. This is called the Players EP, not player, but people that play keys. All right. So what I did, my goal was to create a module that all you have to do is bring your laptop and your sound card, and this is going to be what you play every single week. I have the standards. Okay. All right, so what I did with the Players EP, I took the MKSensation to another level. What do you mean? All right, I got the Piano 1, Piano 2, EP1, EP2, but then I added some specials. Let's look at the specials, all right? So the specials that I added, starting down here from the bottom, we have added the Power Grand. Remember the Motif Classic? The Yamaha Motif Classic, the first Motif, they had a Power Grand that everybody and their mama loved. So that's the Power Grand. Now I added a nice basic acoustic piano, not too much to take up all of your resources, but enough to be beautiful. So let me So this is taken after the old school S90. It's the old school S90, that 700 grand on the Yamaha. It has that really pretty. Has that tingy. This is what people loved about that S700 grand. It's beautiful. Everybody loved that. So it just has that pretty. Now, after that, I added the old school 01. Remember the 01W Dyno? So what happened was I got an 01W and I tried to sample the Dyno, and it sounded good for back then, but it don't sound good for today's technology. So what I did is I got some DX7s, and I got a whole bunch of other layers that I know I love. So I emulated it, but I took it to another level. And this is that classic Dyno. This is the Disney. This is the make you cry. Remember? Wait, how did that song go? All right, so we talked about this Dyno. That Dyno it just makes you cry, man. It's just a crying EP. It just makes you cry. So. That's it right there. So, and then we have the TX816. What the TX816 is, it is, Yamaha came out with a DX7. The TX816 is pretty much a big giant module with 8 DX7s in it. So you can imagine taking an EP with 8 DX7s, layering them together, what that would sound like. And it sounds like this. Woo! That's it. So it's just like, it's that classic 8. It's got that pop. That it's like, sounds like metal, a nice metal. It's just. And when you layer those certain chords, and then once again we can add the chorus. Nice reverb, not too much, just enough. That's it. So then we have, now if you notice, this section is divided into EPs and pianos. This little gap here divides it into synths and pads. So starting right here, I used a class. Now there is a classic brass that they use. I personally, once again, I'm not going to just take the same stuff that they use in the 80s. I'm going to upgrade it. And I think one of the best brasses ever used is the Yamaha X5 Brass. And let me turn these up because I always turn them down when I mix them. Let's turn these down. So it has that buzz slide. Be able to use it in any situation, any live setting. And then this classic that everybody always used to ask me about. This is the classic synth. Now, there is a certain synth that is used in the gospel genre. It was taken from the JV1080. It was called, I think it was called the Mondo Bass. And the way they used it is they took the Mondo Bass, but they didn't use it as a bass. Instead of making monophonic, they made it polyphonic, and they took it up a higher register, so they turned the bass saw into a synth. And I got a JV1080 and I did it. And it didn't sound as good as this. So this is a kind of emulation of that Mondo bass that you're looking for, but I think it's just a little better. That's just ridiculous. That you play that on a shout and it's ridiculous. Ridiculous. All right. Now the strings, what you want for your strings. Now, I call this plugin, this MKSensation, an atmosphere creator, because the purpose of this thing is to create a good atmosphere, especially for us church cats. The main thing you want to do is create an atmosphere, and you want to create a nice, beautiful, rich atmosphere. I got pretty stuff. And so the strings have to be right. So Now, and if I move the mod wheel, it changes the cutoff frequency to make it. Woo. Then you get that richness. That's it all day long. Now, you gotta have a warm pad. The pad is to really create a bottom that just, turn it. Once again, I can use the mod wheel. That's a pad for you. That's a pad. That's what a pad's supposed to sound like. Once again, back on the synth. Now what I can do is I can go back here, because I know you guys are gonna want something different on that. And we can go down here and we could change the LFO. Let me make sure I choose where I'm at, synth. Don't worry, when the final version comes, you're gonna have a nice, so you're gonna have a nice, good, so we can change that. We're gonna tweak that to make sure it's good, but we know that you guys gotta have a good LFO. Thing's got a wiggle. It's got a wiggle, all right? Now, so what we did, we took everything, we took the best of the MKS, the best of the 80s, and we mixed them all together into a nice module. Later, what we're gonna do, we're gonna create our own patches and we're gonna create our own sounds. And I'm gonna do this right in front of you. So there we go. MKSensation, we got the Players EP. I forgot one more thing. There is, now I got a Players EP1 and Players EP2. I couldn't fit everything, so I got two different versions. And if you notice, the last one was the TX816. This one is the classic bell chime. All right? What is that classic bell chime? What I like to do, I like to take that joker and lower the volume on it and mix it with an EP. We can turn it up a little bit. Because those tines, so look at that. So that's what that pad, and then if you mix it with a nice pad, woo! that piano. We can go all day mixing stuff, so we're going to get on to that, to making patches. So there we go. The MKSensation, we added the tines. We had to make sure everything was good to go. And we're going to come back with more stuff on the MKSensation to make sure you understand everything about it. Gospel musicians coming at you. We out.